Welcome to Summit Sessions, a podcast for students, teachers, and parents. I'm your host, Cassie Tomlin, and today we'll be discussing social emotional stressors, especially with the holidays approaching. I'm joined today with Miss Mia Monroe, who is a counselor here at Summit.
Hey, Cassie, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Miss April Milam, who is also a counselor here.
Hey, Cassie, thanks.
Along with Summit High School senior Britton Rowe.
Thanks for having me, Cassie.
All right, so let's talk about some stressors that may come up around the end of the semester and the holidays. So Miss Monroe and Miss Milam, what are some things that you both are seeing in the counseling center as far as stressors for students?
Yeah, Cassie, that's a great question. I think this time of the year, everybody's kind of feeling the stress and pressure. I know a lot of the students that I've talked with recently are feeling the pressure of the midterm exams. Seniors are feeling the stress of exemptions. There's the holidays, credits, that type of thing. I just think it's just a busy time of the year, and everyone's kind of feeling that.
We hear from seniors that are trying to get applications in for college. There's lots of questions about what they need to be doing for that. Parents are stressed, and we do have the holidays right around the corner. We've got exams, and there's a lot of things occurring at one time that students are feeling the pressure of everything coming together at once.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to say as a parent of a senior, too, I just ditto what Ms. Milam is saying. It's a lot, and you know, you seniors that are navigating this on your own, kudos to you. Please know that we are here if you need anything.
To kind of get a student perspective, Britton, what are some things that may be a stressor to you, and what are some things that you do to cope with that?
Yeah, so some stressors for me around the end of the year include final tests and trying to make sure I have all A's so I can get exempt. And then also one that kind of gets overlooked by me is I rush and I end up getting gifts too late for my family, which always kind of stressed me out a lot. And the best way I cope with these things is by spreading everything out and not doing it all in one day, but I end up doing the gift thing, so I got to work on that one a little bit more. And trying to stay calm and just realizing everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, I definitely think keeping like a set schedule or certain things around exam time as a student is really helpful to help kind of balance out that stress in your life around the holidays, just so you know exactly what you need to be doing and getting done so it doesn't all just crash down at the end at the last minute.
Yeah, Cassie, I definitely think you're right on that. And Britton, you're not alone on people that need to Christmas shop, as I am going to make a mad dash this afternoon to pick up a few things. I also think it's important to remember that, you know, adults are feeling stress and pressure this time of the year as well. You know, teachers are busy preparing for midterms. They're trying to wrap up this first semester. They're preparing for second semester. In addition to, you know, their families and their own personal children. And I think sometimes we just kind of lose sight of that as adults. We, too, kind of feel that stress and pressure. And so I think it's trying to find a healthy balance for all of us.
As adults in the building, some of us also have children, so we experience the secondary stress that our kids are feeling, as well as the stress of others and our own personal stress. So just to piggyback off of what Ms. Monroe said, you know, we're all kind of feeling the pressure, and I think if we could provide some empathy for one another, that we're all experiencing kind of the same thing, maybe because of different reasons, but the same feelings, then that empathy will kind of help us understand each other better.
So I think we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss some more ways to cope and how to get help if needed. We'll be right back after this short break.
Suicide is a leading cause of preventable death in the United States. Knowing 3 simple digits, 988, can save a life. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides connection to free confidential support. There is hope. The Lifeline works. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.
Welcome back to Summit Sessions, a podcast for students, teachers, and parents. I'm your host, Cassie Tomlin, and I'm joined with Miss Monroe, Miss Milam, and Britton Rowe. Before the break, we talked about the different stressors people face towards the end of the semester and around the holidays. Now let's discuss some ways to do self-care and some possible resources to receive the extra help if needed.
One thing I just wanted to point out before we get too deep into self-care and the resources is, students and faculty, adults, parents are dealing with mental health struggles year-round. And so whenever the holidays happen, it's such an emotional time that brings up lots of feelings. Sometimes things have happened around the holidays or makes us think of certain people or times in our lives that may have been difficult, and that it can really amp up those mental health issues that we experience on a day-to-day basis. And so part of our concern and wanting to address it at this time is just because while we may need to practice self-care on a regular basis or get resources on a regular basis, it's just super amped up during this time. So some of the counseling resources that we have at Summit for students that we provide all the time, but we definitely experience getting amped up during this time, would be individual and group counseling. So our offices are very busy with students, and they're sharing with us, what's going on in the classroom, what's going on at home, in their families, and then we also have groups going on at the same time. We also have admin or teachers or faculty or each other confiding in one another's offices, also needing that support from one another.
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Milam. I definitely think it's a team effort in, meeting the needs of students and also kind of checking in on each other and making sure that everyone is okay. I think it's just being cognizant that, the semester started off rolling and it rolled quick. It went fast. It went hard. And here we all are at the end, and some feel like they're hanging on just a little bit. I think it's important to note that while we have many resources available here during the school hours, if anyone ever needs any assistance outside of school hours, there's a new number, 988. Again, that's 988. That's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Anyone can call or text this number for emotional support at any time. So we definitely want to spread the word on that. We want people to feel like that's a resource for them that they can use, at any time when they need that.
Britton, as a student, what do you think is something that you do to take care of yourself during this time?
For me, it's just taking my time, trying not to stress over the little things, like if the wrapping paper is good enough on the presents or stuff like that. And also the new thing I have done is putting myself first. A new thing, because of HOSA, I've just learned how to act and be able to help others. But before helping others, I'm doing things for myself to make sure everything's right within HOSA and stuff like that.
I think that's a good lesson for us all, knowing that sometimes we do need to put ourselves and our mental health at the top of our priorities so that we can make sure that we're able to help other people, especially when we're in our helping profession and our helping modes.
Yeah, I think Britton hit on a great point, too, of just making sure, saying that, things don't have to be perfect. I think sometimes perfection is, this elusive thing that we all chase, and we can't gain that. And to be honest with you, Britton, I'm a little bit guilty of wanting, the perfect wrapping paper and the matching pajama pictures on Christmas Day. That doesn't necessarily always happen. So I think sometimes we've got to, do the best that we can do, learn to give ourselves grace. I say that quite often, and I've probably got some students that are like, if she says that one more time. But I do think there's a lot of truth in that. I think there's a lot of truth in giving yourself some grace and, stepping back and doing things that you can do to take care of you. I know sometimes self-care kind of comes across a little cheesy to some people, but honestly, I think it's the little things this time of the year that kind of keep us going. You know, for me, myself, I get up, I'm one of those early birds. I get up every morning and I go to the gym before I come to class, or before I come to school. It's, you know, it's a bright part in my day that helps me prepare for the day and helps me feel like I can conquer the day a little bit more. So, you know, me personally, self-care, I hit the gym most days.
I love that. Good for you. I recently heard somebody say something that I've been repeating to myself all week. There's 2 rules in life. The first rule is don't sweat the small stuff. The second rule is everything is small stuff. So to try to put things into perspective, sometimes we stress over things that really in the grand scheme of things are not that important. And so just doing a little self-talk with myself to remind myself that what I'm worked up over may actually not be worth being this worked up over. Self-care for me can look like participating in my hobbies or spending time with my children, because that can be a total distraction from whatever I've decided is worth being worked up over.
What is that saying? If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't give it more than 5 minutes thought or something like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's something that I personally need to practice. And, you know, we've all got room for growth here. And I think that's just a key thing is realizing we've all got room to grow and that, you know, hey, we all need somebody to lean on. And so I think one of the key takeaways that we want, you know, whether it be teachers, whether it be faculty, whether it be students, we want you to know there are people here that care about you, people that you can lean on. And, you know, we are just really, truly only a hallway away, a call away, a text away, an email away, truly.
Sometimes that can just make a big difference to know that somebody cares. And I think sometimes we can convince ourselves that nobody cares and we're alone, and just picking up the phone and texting that hotline that you mentioned, 988, or walking down the hallway and talking to a colleague, or, you know, calling a parent, calling a friend, a neighbor, just being able to reach out, taking the effort to reach out to that person can be very reassuring that they do care about you and they want to connect with you. So don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think we all deep down desire that connection, right? Like as human beings, that's part of who we are, and that's part of what we seek, what we need.
Absolutely.
Well, is there anything that we wanted to touch on self-care wise, or some possible resources?
I think, again, just keeping in mind that hotline for outside of school hours, reaching out if you need something, you know, if you're someone that's concerned about a friend, a possible need that they have, reach out to the school counselors. We are definitely here to help and want to do what we can to help, and just, you know, check in on your friends. If you've got someone that, you know, has gone quiet, you know, check in on them, send them a text, see what's going on, join them for lunch, something like that. I think it's just, you know, this time of the year, looking out for each other and just making sure that everyone's okay. We have a break coming soon. I think every single person is looking forward to that break. I hope everybody's able to rest, relax, recharge, and let's start off 2023 with the best year.
All right. I think that's going to do it for our first episode of Summit Sessions. And once again, I'm Cassie, joined with
Miss Monroe,
Miss Milo,
And Britton Rowe.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
thanks for having us.
Bye.